Evening and maybe good afternoon to every one of you, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you very much for joining me again tonight on the program called Build to Last. Build to Last is an entrepreneurship and business mastery coaching session that comes off every Thursday, where we help ourselves to start, manage, and grow very successful entrepreneurial businesses. And tonight is of no exception. Every Thursday, we meet from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., where we bring seasoned professionals to come and join us to share with us what it takes to build a very, very successful business. And as we always say, we all know that many people start their businesses, but unfortunately, as a result of poor business management, as a result of not being able to separate their emotions from the strategic business management of their businesses, they are not able to manage a business succeed. We are here every Thursday to teach ourselves what can we do as individuals. What can we learn from ourselves? What can we learn from other people? What it takes to build a business. Tonight is of no exception. Tonight is a very interesting topic, honestly. So when I posted the topic on my status, somebody called me and said, "Natike Wenswe." And I said, Wenswe, because we are here again to tell a story. What does stories do to us? If we have stories to tell about our entrepreneurial businesses, what does it do to us? Does it build any credibility for us? Does it add to our authenticity? Does it give us any leverage as far as our businesses are concerned? Does it even mean anything at all for us to even tell stories when we are selling our stories, technically, when we are talking about businesses? Tonight, we have a seasoned professional who has the skill set, the experience in using stories to build brands. If you're looking for anybody in this country who can help you to be able to build a story around a brand, just to help to build credibility, there's no other person that I know of today than our dear very friend who has been with us some time ago, an amazing friend, action-oriented person, somebody I really follow so much on LinkedIn, who has helped us once again on this program before, right in the person of Mr. Stephen Nasebwadi. Mr. Nasebwadi is a growth consultant, more than 20 years experience in business consulting and organization to thrive, and most importantly, to help business to build strategies and build a brand around what they do. Nancy, you're welcome and good evening.
Good evening, TK, and good evening, everyone.
Wow.
Good to be here.
Oh, good to be here too as well. I mean, you and I have had there's some connection between us that anytime that I see your post on LinkedIn, I feel like, wow, let me call this guy. What is it about you that makes you craft those interesting stories? One of the things that I heard, I saw recently on LinkedIn was the end of year, the fourth quarter review and strategy planning.
Yes.
Before we go into tell me about that briefly.
Thank you very much, TK. Well, this is part of my story. So, as you may, know, or as some of the audience may have heard me say in a couple of places, I finished school in Ghana, did my national service as a TA at Tech, one of the first people that taught com skills. If anybody did com skills at Tech, I was one of the people that developed the curriculum. So you can see how old I am. And we taught com schools there. Then, while we were in school, like you used to do, we used to go to Babylon, go and job, come back. But when I finished my national service, I went to UK to go and study, and I worked there. Now, long story short, when I came back to Ghana, because I had never really worked in Ghana, the system didn't know me. So I ended up doing a lot of consultancy work, management consultancy work. Now, one of the things I found was that, in UK and other places, you start a job and you don't wait for people to tell you day after day what to do.
Yeah.
There's something we call performance management. Okay. So at the beginning of every year, the MD would, inherit from the board a set of objectives that they want to achieve in the year. Let's say it's a bank. This year, we want to mobilize 10 billion deposits, want to open 2 new branches, want to launch our new app, all those targets and do that. Now, the post I did, the essence of it is that what I find in Ghana is that a lot of companies wait till the beginning of the year before they go for a boot camp, if anything at all, to start strategizing. So before you know it, the first 3 months gone, and other businesses have gone ahead of you. So it's just to encourage businesses to start thinking about reviewing their performance in 2025 now and start planning for the new year. So that's the post that I did. And it's from the experience I've had helping, like I said, when I came back, ended up in management consultancy and helping from banks to small businesses to all sorts, helping them to plan properly for the new year. It was like we do here, and I've been here and I've heard from several of the consultants that come here. If you want to do your business successfully and you really want to push yourself and see results, planning is key.
Hmm.
You don't do it for fun. It's serious. Yes, we all like to have a side hustle, but at some point, the side hustle has to be taken as serious or if not more serious than the main job. So that's the essence of that post I did. Yeah,
I love it. I really love it. And I think once we are done, if you can share the link with me, I'll drop it on the various platforms that we have now for
I
people
will
to see
do.
the essence of what we're actually talking about now. I
I will do.
remember this year, early part of this year, in fact, three companies called me to join their strategic session planning in January,
Hmm.
but they actually called
Hmm.
me in December the previous year. So I was telling them,
Yeah,
why don't we do it before the year starts? Oh, no, no, let's
yeah.
wait till January. So they actually resumed, I think, on the 5th of January. And then
Hmm.
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They finally called me. In fact, the first company finally called me second of March.
Hmm.
First quarter was already gone. The
Yeah,
second company
yeah.
also called me somewhere just before Easter. So I was asking them, what are we going to talk about? And when I saw your post, I could easily resonate because I could feel how late these companies were as far as the new year was
Hmm.
concerned.
Hmm.
And I'm sure in
Hmm.
2025, this year, they are not going to do anything at all.
Well,
Because if you already spent 3 months in 2025, what else do you have? The first quarter.
yeah. It's
But I,
gone.
I guess we should do something next week on this. We should probably take
Well,
your post and do something around that to see how we can guide people who are taking our advice now, who might probably don't know how to
mhm.
go about it. Probably let's give them a teaser next week. And then those who are interested, they can invite you and join them, be part of their facilitating their strategic planning. So maybe next week we'll look at that.
Yeah, let me even add that if the audience I call this a community
Yeah.
because it's a place where we all connect to share, learn, and grow. Um, if the people here are willing, what we can do next week is even make it like a kind of open forum.
Hmm.
So we want them to come next week with if at the beginning of the year they had any targets, okay, we want them to come and let's kind of like review it together, and then let's start planning for next year what we want to do. And it could be a practical session. Let's
Yeah.
discuss it during the week,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let's do that.
We
Yeah,
will. We
that'll
will.
be very good to do.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a teaser for tonight. If you are ready and you are very, very ready, please just show some love to Mr. Nancy Body before we start doing anything at all. Show some love, show some love, show some love. I won't let him start speaking until I've seen you guys showing some love. And whilst you're showing some love to Mr. Nancy Body, kindly share the link to your friends. If you have any friend who is attempting to start a business, if you have a friend who's already in business, please, this call tonight be a very interesting one for them to join us for us to share ideas together to see how we can build this. Okay. All right. So tonight we are talking about your story, your strategy, how to build an unbeatable brand from your authentic narrative. Nana, welcome and take
Yes,
over.
sir. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. It's good to be back. Before I get into what I prepared to share today, let me just say that this is one of the communities that I'm so glad I joined this year. You know, TK, I didn't even know we had spoken over a year ago
Yeah,
and we had planned to do something. It was when we connected again and we started WhatsApp, and I said, but we spoke some time ago.
exactly.
Yeah, and we're connected. So it's strange. But since then, every time I've been here, I've learned so much. Last week, I've forgotten his name now. The guy from, is it Harper?
Yeah, hyperspace, Albert.
Harper Space.
Yes.
Again, after the session, I just felt like looking for him to just say thank you for sharing. Then I found out we're even connected on LinkedIn already.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, as TK, you would know, I do a bit of work in the digital space.
Yeah.
I'm known more for the digital part of marketing and communication. So, anyway, tonight, like we said, we're going to share something about how your story could be, perhaps your um. Can you enable me to share my screen,
Yes,
please, if you
please. I
don't
will do
mind?
quickly.
Okay.
Quickly.
How your story perhaps could be one of the biggest tools you have in your toolbox when it comes to growing your business. Now, The last time I was on, we talked a lot about building a strong brand. One of the things I remember I said was that building a brand relies a lot on emotional connection that you build with your target audience, okay, and your consumers. And this is very, very key. Your story is one of the ways that people would fall in love with you and be able to connect with your business and start patronizing your business. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see from here.
Okay. All right, excellent. So our title for this session, and this is how I've structured it. I'm going to speak for, let's say, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll take questions and stuff, go back and forth. And then as we discussed, there's a project that I want us to work on. So I'll take some time to introduce the project and we'll take it from there, next steps. Okay. Please, another thing, I've got my assistant here, my 4-year-old boy. He wants to join me. So if you hear any noise in the background, please, it's my special assistant that wants to get involved.
He's very welcome.
Number 2 has also just joined us. Boys, I'm working. Okay, so you go and watch TV. Okay, I'll come to you after. Okay, then keep quiet. Okay, because we've got a lot of friends on the call. Yeah.
Daddy, I don't want to watch it public.
Okay. Okay, go and change it. Yeah, change it. All right, cool. Anyway, let's go on. But so let me just get into it. And what I'll do is I'll share even my own story as part of this. So people can relate. Okay. So what are some of the reasons why your story really matters? I've got 3 points here. Authenticity cuts through. And those of you who saw my teaser post for this session would have seen that. Now, one of the things that we take for granted sometimes is the fact that our customers or our followers can see it when we are faking it. Okay. And one of the ways that you can avoid faking your story or the success of your business is by telling the true story and being authentic. And when you do that, people warm to you, they identify with you, they can see themselves in it. I'll give an example of myself and another example. Like I was telling you, TK, when I came back, nobody in this system knew me. And as we know in Ghana, people like to do business with people that they know. So I went around doing a lot of free presentations, do the strategy here, this and that. But as I did that, I tried to share my history. Now, part of my history, and I'll say at this point, is that I grew up in Kumasi. Those of you who live in Kumasi will know a place called Abuakwa. If you know Abuakwa, there's a place that's called Ghana Baptist Seminary, it's a university now. That's the campus where I grew up. Anybody that knows Kumasi knows Amakom, we know Grace Baptist Church, we know Scott Baptist Church, all those churches. If you mention my surname in any Baptist church, we will ask you, is he Dr. Bwedi's son? Because my dad was the first local president of the Ghana Baptist Convention, local general secretary of the Ghana Baptist Convention. So I grew up as a PK, what we call a PK. Now, how is this important? When I came back and I was going around doing presentations and doing all that, people would tell me I sound like a preacher. Because I grew up watching my dad and serving in church. Not only that, I grew up playing all sorts of instruments, directing choirs. From anybody that went to tech would know about IHCF and Gospel Explosion. I used to play keyboard for Gospel Explosion at tech. Now we started what we call intellectual manifesto, if they still do it. So all this background, it's part of my story. It enables me to be able to connect with people. And so when I'm presenting to people, whatever it is, whatever subject, I'm able to connect with them on an emotional level. They also are able to connect with me in a way, some history. Because, like I just said, my first job was as a TA, teaching com skills. And that year was the year that the first batch of SS people came to tech. Okay, so teaching com skills to all SS people that came. All of a sudden, some people say, it looks like you taught me this year. Or I did com skills. Do you know this person? Then we connect at that level. And because of that, they will be more open to give me a gig, to give me this training gig here, to give me this strategy work here, this and that. So you see how your story becomes relevant. Okay, that's one way. But I was being authentic in that sense. I wasn't faking it, saying, oh, me, I didn't grow up here. I went to UK. That's where I lived all my life, did all those things. Okay. But even as I went on doing work for people, they will find that I had a lot of experience working across Europe, working for some big companies from Sony UK to Barclays Capital and all those. And because of that, I had experience that they were interested in, because in the like early to mid 2010s, almost every country in Ghana now, the way that digitalization had also opened the world to all sorts of opportunities, people were now seeing what was happening in Europe and in the States as the benchmark, as a target. So you see where that connection comes in. So authenticity is very important, and that works for me. It remains part of my story today. Okay. There's also emotional resonance wins. Being, even sometimes being vulnerable or telling people about how your brand enables them to overcome their challenges. Like, for example, Nike would say, you just do it. It's to tell you that everybody can stay fit, everybody can run, everybody can do all this, and it connects with people. Okay. I'll give another example. There's a brand that's called Wear Ghana. Those of you who know Gigi and we know people like Erabna and Ajiman, very good friends of mine. Now, when they built the brand, one of the things we did was that we saw that gathering together as middle class workers, office workers on Friday evenings, to have a bit of sing and dance, karaoke, to jump on the stage, to just have fun, have a few drinks and chew kebabs, was a regular passion for a lot of us. Okay. So they tapped into that and say, okay, why not wear your gigi on Friday so you come straight to the event, so you connect with us? So all of a sudden, they were creating a culture, and we all emotionally connected around that. We went there and we are talking about our passion, our hustles. That's where even Horseman Shoes grew from. All these stories can relate to them. So you see how that works. Trust also drives loyalty. As you tell these stories, people begin to trust you. Okay, so you show credibility and you inspire people to do that. These are at least 3 reasons why your story really matters. Okay, let's go on. I've just talked about the Wear Ghana story. So you see to the right of my screen, see the pictures there. This is Gigi. And I bet you some of you on this call now all have your Gigi in your room. You don't even know what made you buy, but I just fell in love with the brand. It's because of the stories they told about the brand. Okay. And it's unique in that sense. Okay. So that's very, very important. And I like something that even Steve Jobs said, the most powerful person in the world is a storyteller. When you tell stories, you become more compelling and people would kind of like fall in love with whatever you're doing. You're able to, like, again, I call myself, I'm a picky. And old school preachers like my dad and evangelists like the Bill Grahams and the rest, they always told stories the same way that Jesus told stories through the parables. And the stories are what people remember, and the stories are what people want to. Okay. All right. So how then do you do it? Okay. Identify your unique brand story elements. First, reflect on your core values. What are the things you value? What are the things that you cherish? Let me use again my example. One of the things I found was that I had to ask myself, why did I come back to Ghana? Well, I'd worked for many years, over 10 years in Europe, worked for, by the grace of God, some of the biggest companies out there, worked on big campaigns out there in Europe, not just in the UK, but in other parts of Europe. But then after visiting a couple of times, I found that digital marketing was growing in Ghana. It was emerging in Ghana and was going to go on to Africa. And I wanted to be part of that story. So that was one of the things that I valued. I valued impacting people's businesses and watching brands do things that were impacting lives, not just the usual, oh, TVC here, radio there, this and that. How could we leverage technology to elevate brands to higher levels? So let me tell another story. My first proper job after doing all this consultancy work, go and speak here, do this, and a lot of them for free. And I did that because by the grace of God, money is great, but I've grown up believing that money is not everything. It's about making an impact. It's about touching people's lives, helping people to achieve, get results, and then any rewards will follow. Okay. Now, one of the things I did in my first proper job was at PZ. If there are any moms or dads on this call, you will know an app or a community called Baby Center. Now, Baby Center is owned by J&J, the Johnson's Powder people. Okay. Now, globally, a lot of moms follow Baby Center. So they will create account and then they will create accounts for their babies and all that. So it helps you to track all the way from trying to get pregnant all the way till your baby has gone through all the stages till about the baby is about 4 or 5 years. Every stage of your baby's development, even your pregnancy, you see resources there that you can use to make you a better mom. Now, when I went to PZ has a brand called Cousins Baby. I had two bosses. My first boss at PZ, who was the local MD in Ghana, and my digital marketing boss sat in Manchester. My MD in Ghana said to me, Stephen, help us to create Africa's version of Baby Center. Well, the challenge was that Baby Center was global. It was great, but I didn't have a lot of local content when it comes to Africa. So my job was to build what we now call Mama's Nest for Africa across Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, and other places. And again, that's one of the stories that TK may have found me tell on my platform on LinkedIn. Today, that platform has over 5 million passionate, active moms who connect every day to learn about how to be better moms. Because, as most of you would know, when I was born, my grandma came from the village to come and stay with us to bathe me and do all of that. Today, because of the way our lifestyles and our communities have changed, when you were born, your mom didn't have the luxury of your grandma coming from the village. She would probably not even have an extra room for her to stay in. So your mom had to do that all by herself, learning, reading from the internet or connecting with her friends at work and all these things. This community is built, the Mama's Nest community is built to help moms to become better moms. So we've got newbie moms, we've got rookie moms, veteran moms, and we've got some pediatricians and doctors and also the people there. That's what I built at PZ. Now, connecting it to my core values, it was about, again, watching moms or brands achieve, become successful. Some of the places that I go to today, and some of the moms will tell me that I'm part of Cousins Baby, Mama's Nest, because we're holding virtual consulting rooms on Fridays on Facebook. I bought tablets, trained pediatricians and nurses who were giving advice to some of these moms. And I'll give you some examples. Sometimes some of the moms will come and they will, a prescription that a pediatrician has given them, they'll come to the community and ask, I want to see the pediatrician, she prescribed this. Should I use it? You know what? When you ask them why, they will say, well, but the pediatrician on Chimoda. The pediatrician has never had a baby because she's too young. She wants to believe what her peer moms will tell her. Same way we are here to learn from peer business owners. Okay, so those were some of my values to help people grow and to build. And those things have followed me to today. A lot of gigs, training gigs I get paid a lot for are from the sacrifices I made in those days. And today, as I do things every day and what I share online, sometimes people will ask me, but these things you could sell them, you could put them into a book and sell them. I say, well, for me, the joy that I have is in seeing people's businesses grow. That will come later on. The money will come. And by the grace of God, I still make decent money. Okay. Not that I do everything for free. Okay. So that's part. Again, through this, I've shared my journey. So you can see where how I've evolved. Okay. From working in UK, coming back to Ghana. And the reason why, by the grace of God, today, there's no digital marketing and comms platform event that I would not be invited to come and speak at. Most of them I have to turn them down because my name is out there. Okay. And it's very, very important. So those of you who are building your brands, it's about sharing your values. So for example, you may be a skincare brand owner and you developed it from the experience that you had struggling to find the right skincare products for your own skin or for your hair. And through that, you developed it. So you've got a story to tell about how your product was developed. Okay. Number two, you would find that, and this is something that they do very, very well in Europe. You find that a lot of the shops, skincare brands that sell in Europe, they will always have a story to tell about how part of the money that they make goes back to northern Ghana to go and contribute to put some of the kids of the moms that work on those shea butter farms to put them in schools. Through that, they are able to sell the products at a premium. So that's very, very important. Okay. And then number two, define your unique perspective. You have to make your story unique. So what sets you apart? What makes you unique in that sense? Like I said, I still do a lot of trainings. One of the things people often tell me is, Stephen, there are two things about your training that always captivates us. One, you share experiences from different markets. And I'm able to do this because I've worked across not just Africa, but also Europe. Number two, you use a lot of videos in your trainings. Okay, so there's a lot of case study that people can see, and there's always a view of what the benchmark is. So whatever we are learning, what should we aspire to do? Okay, so these are things that I do. The same way as a brand owner listening to me today, or as a business owner listening to me today, what is the benchmark? What perspective do you have that sets you apart? Okay, it's very, very important. So how do you craft this? I've got couple of simple things. Always try and have a beginning. So the origin of your story. I talked about me being a PK, growing up on a campus at Ebuakwa. Okay. Then going to tech, my life at tech, the things that I did at tech, how that helped me to be able to always connect with people, to be able to lead, be able to teach people, train. And that is what built me as a consultant. I learned a lot of these things, even from watching my dad, for example, as a pastor, traveling around doing all those things. Then the middle, the challenges that you face. Again, using my example, when I came back, people didn't know me because my classmates had now all gone to Europe and they were all working there. In fact, when I walk around, they go to a lot of places. I don't find my classmates, my year mates from uni here. They are all abroad now. I've come, but they are out there now. Okay. So when I came back, it was a challenge for me. But what I realized was that one way of getting myself out there was through doing things free, connecting with people, volunteering to speak here, whether it's a church or at a small school, at a small business, coffee, breakfast, whatever. Do those things and put my name out there. Okay. And that helped. And the transformation that I've seen. So that also helped me to be able to get even the job at PZ, which I did. Now, when I left PZ, I was able to leave because one, I had done things across the continent. So my name was out there on the continent. Number two, I had taught for many years as a CIM tutor, CIM UK tutor. So now I knew a lot of even marketing directors across Ghana, Kenya, Gambia, also the places who could now give me work to do as a consultant for their brands. And that's the transformation. Okay. Today, I don't run an agency, but almost every day I get inquiries to provide consultancy service to people. Okay. So those are very, very key. See the 3 blocks that I've got. Now, in doing that, in telling this story, you need to use vivid imagery, for example. Okay. So if this was, I could have done this presentation with even pictures of me, for example, directing class with any of those things on this platform. But what I do a lot on my Instagram and social media, etc., is I try to share pictures, videos, and stories of me connecting with people and the things that we do every day. That way, people can see how I'm impacting lives. Okay. And create relatable characters your audience sees themselves in. So, for example, I've talked about, let me give another example. You may be a makeup artist, okay? And one of the things I did for one of the brands that I was working with was to tell the story about the brand, that particular brand. I said, let's do this campaign where every morning we go to an office, whether it's a bank or whatever, and give the women free makeup. Well, in the makeup industry, they've got what they call testers. Just give them free makeup. While you're applying the makeup, tell them about their face, get them to understand their skin. Through that, you are connecting with them. Now, that brand is known as the brand that teaches people, helps them to get to understand their skin, so that people will not apply any makeup because it looks good on them, but they understand how it relates to their skin. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And then also, while you're applying it, you are also talking to people. So you are building an emotional connection with the people. Okay. Let me try and let me hurry up a bit so we can have time for questions, etc. Now, when you've done all of this, how then do you tell your story? What platforms? I use LinkedIn in particular because for what I do, I like to connect with professional people. Okay. But I do a bit also on even my WhatsApp status and on my Instagram and other places. But LinkedIn is the main one. And then also the speaking engagements that I have. Every week, I speak at least 2 places. Some are webinars, but a lot of them are more in person. So those who follow me will see that almost every day I'm posting a flyer where I'm speaking, I'm doing this here, I'm doing that there. Okay. And through that, I'm telling my story. And whenever people need services that I have expertise in, I'm the one of the names that will be mentioned. Okay, by the grace of God. Okay. That is how I do it. And you can also do it. So, for example, again, let me give one. 2 weeks ago, I think I was on a webinar for GT Bank. It's about customer service as a strategic advantage. And somebody came on, they said they were a thrift dealer, FOS, what we call FOS in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay. They were asking for tips on how they can grow affinity with their audience and get them to be loyal. And I said, don't position yourself as just the person who sells thrift. Position yourself as the person who helps your customers to look good in their clothes. Very big difference. You don't just sell clothes, but you help people to look great. Because people don't buy clothes just because they want to wear clothes. They want to look great. They want to appear great. So they will turn up very nicely at that event, at that office, or whatever. So what you do is on your platform, don't just post about the clothes and their prices. Give people even tips on matching the clothes. These jeans, what kind of shirt would you work with? Okay. How can you keep these jeans so it doesn't fade? How to wash it? All those things. Okay. This way, that's what you do. That's how you do what we call content marketing. You are sharing valuable content that's not directly about come and buy, but it's about giving value to your audience, your customers, so that at the end of the day, they see you as the expert in that area. I hope you understand what I'm saying. We'll
Very
get into
good.
the questions. If you are into any specific business, you can ask specific business questions that relate to your specific business. Like I will try and give some answers there. So, how about overcoming some of the challenges? Because staying authentic in a digital world can be a bit of a challenge. Number one, guard your narrative. Beware of attacks and misinformation. Okay. People, because it's a competitive world, sometimes people will try and challenge some of the story, the way you tell your story, especially if you're telling the story about how you even develop your products. People might want to challenge it. People will question whether your products are even genuine or whatever. These are the even people will call trolls. Okay. Now, to combat them, you need to be transparent and be consistent and honest with your communication. Your true followers, your true customers will see the authenticity in your narrative. And no matter what people might want to say about you, whether it's you're watching, people who want to spin a story that you're watching, it's not great, you use whatever fake products or whatever. Because you're authentic and you're transparent, you find that your customers, your audience are even the ones that are defending you. So that's very, very important. Build resilience, okay, so that you can survive criticism that people give. For me, for example, if I can use myself as an example, even when people would want to kind of like give how do I put it? Want to challenge some of the things that maybe I'll recommend to some of my my clients. Okay, what I have found is that I have resilience in the fact that I always have examples to go back to, case studies that I can go back to and reference. Say, this is what this client did. This is what this person. This is what this business did, and they were successful. Okay. So if you can follow me and not believe the doubts that somebody's trying to sow, we'll be able to get to the end. Okay. That's what it means. And then listen actively. This is very, very important. I think maybe on another call, we can talk about what these days we call social listening, which is a big part of what we. So please let me finish here. Okay, boys. Ethan, go.
But where do you have to go? Why?
Let me finish. I'll finish very soon, okay? Uncle TK says, keep quiet, and I'll finish very soon, okay? Yeah.
Buy me something?
When we finish, we'll talk to Uncle TK, okay? I'll call him and you talk to him.
Stay your friend.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting for Akunase to sort my little boys out, you are listening to Stephen Nase Bodi. I'm sure by now you can resonate yourself with whatever he's saying. And Nase, honestly, I've connected exactly what has happened to me as part of my story. And I think you have actually given me enough confidence in what I tell as my story, because I can really, really, really resonate with what you are saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are really enjoying this, as he goes on to continue with the presentation, please can show some love, show some love, show some love, show some love.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Let me finish. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So here are some tips on how to start. But you might be struggling with how to start. The first one to do is write your brand story statement. Okay. Craft a clear, compelling statement. Who you are, why you exist, and who you serve. Like I said, I came back because I wanted to be part of the story of the emergence of digital marketing on this continent. And I've stories to tell about how we've achieved those. I talked about Cousin's Baby and the Mama's Nest. One of the biggest campaigns some of you may know is what we call the Baby Moments campaign, where we ask moms to share pictures of their babies and invite their friends to vote for it. Let me tell you this story. When we launched the campaign first in Nigeria, people took it for the World Cup. Okay, because the first year, which was 2014, the prize was ticket for the couple and the baby to Disneyland Paris. Okay. Now, some of the moms were buying data. They will give it to their pastor. The pastor will announce after church, go to this car, collect data, and go and vote for this baby. Okay. Now, this is, it caught on so well that we then got ourselves into trouble in the first year. The baby that won, unfortunately, the parents had separated. It was the dad that entered the baby into the competition. Then when the mom won, she turned up on the night with her new partner. Can you imagine? The dad then went to Linda Ikeji. Those of you who are into blogging, Linda Ikeji is one of the biggest blogs in Nigeria. Went into Linda Ikeji to go and sell the story that PZ had conspired with the baby mama to stop him from benefiting from the award that his baby had won.
Wow.
And this was a national thing. The following year, and for 2 years in succession, every time the campaign was launched, within 30 minutes, the campaign website would crash because people were using bots to get their baby people to vote for their baby. This is how popular the campaign was. I'm proud to say that was my initiative. So you see how I'm talking about my story, how I worked it. Okay. Share consistently like I do. And those of you who don't follow me, maybe you want to follow me every day. Look for this hashtag enable growth. Whatever platform you are on, you see what I'm sharing every day, and I do that. Number 3, measure impact. I can tell what the little that I've done has been able to, the impact has been able to make, and I can share successful stories. Even from today, for example, this morning, I spent time with 2 SMEs that are preparing to launch new range next year. And I'm helping them to develop the campaign to launch next year, even into new markets. I spent all of that. And some of these, their success will be part of my story. So I measure everything that I'm doing. This way, if you are able to kind of like capture these, you'll be able to then start telling your story and telling authentically. And that is what will probably sell your brand more than any marketing campaign that you want to launch. So finally, this is what I want to say. Transform from faceless to unforgettable. Every one of you has got a story to tell. Don't think that there's nothing for you to share. The key is to be authentic. Don't fake it. That one, I would discourage you from doing it. But find an authentic story to tell and tell it. Okay. Your narrative is your competitive edge. It's one thing that nobody can copy. Your narrative, your story is something that nobody can copy. And that's what will set you apart. Okay. And then start crafting today. Okay. Own it, tell it, and live it. Thank you very much
for this insightful discussion. Dear friends, this is what we need to do as entrepreneurs. We need to tell our story. Stories sell. Now, with the advent of AI and everything else, any information anybody needs can go online and get it. The differentiator would be the story behind what you're saying with the AI. And that's what NASA has taken us through tonight. I've loved it. And I'll probably try to tell my story as a case study along the line. And maybe, Nana, you can help me to even polish it up, because I think for some time now I've been telling my story, how this whole HiPAG stuff started. And tonight you have made me to be able to block it in such a way that I can easily pinpoint specific instances, what has happened. And that could probably help me tell my story even better. Bro, I'm very grateful. So, ladies and gentlemen,
TK, let me pause it and tell you something.
Good.
Now, I went onto your website again this week. This is what I found. You see, you and I work in a space where we help SMEs and different brands to grow. Now, in some quarters, even a lot of the banks, they believe this myth that all that an SME needs is money. But even what you're using this platform to kind of like grow is priceless. The banks can have webinars like this with this number of people. Okay. And that's part of the story. You can go back for however long you've been running this. The number of businesses that have come here, learned a couple of things, gone to apply it, and how they've seen that transform their business. You're part of that story.
Yeah.
And for me, we need to start capturing these. And that's the project that we're going to go on to. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead a bit.
That's
Because
great.
one of the sad stories, unfortunately, is that in our part of the world, we don't capture a lot of case study.
Yeah.
And so when those of us who do trainings and stuff, we end up quite often using foreign videos and things to share this. We have to change the narrative, because there are a lot of brands in Ghana that have really transformed lives, transformed communities, like some of them that were Ghana and the rest that I talked about, that need to capture their story in 2-3 minutes videos that people doing their PhD would watch to be able to, learn how we do business here. And this is what I think you are doing. And I want us to do this project to take it to the next level and provide a platform for our audience here and the people in the community to start telling their story. So we'll do it, TK. We will do
I'm
it.
grateful. I'm grateful. And very soon, we're going to talk about how you want to invite some of us to also join you on that journey. So we'll talk about that very briefly. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how to tell your story. You have to have a story to tell. The differentiator is a story. It gives that emotional connection. So I'll quickly tell a bit of how this whole HiPAG thing started. So after leaving corporate, my last job was Vodafone, now Telecel, came to join academia, and I realized that there was more I could do with what I knew, based on the fact that I have some corporate experiences. So I started a business. And again, thinking that because I've had corporate experience, and I have some academic qualification and being a bit in academia, I could run a business. Unfortunately, I failed. I failed big time, big time. And I keep, and I will be able to tell the story even better. So, in fact, now there was a point in my life when I was going to teach in the classroom. I was teaching my students entrepreneurship and marketing. And now, if you said you had an MBA in entrepreneurship and marketing, and you have failed in that business, and you have had corporate experience and you failed, how then do you go and tell the students that go and also start your own businesses? In fact, there were times I was going to the classroom, I was so ashamed of myself. I had that serious imposter syndrome. I had that fear and that sorrow in my heart that I wasn't doing the right thing. What then did I do? I started reading books. I mean, there was no conference or seminar that I heard about SME or entrepreneurs that I wouldn't attend. Countless books that I read, conferences, seminars, online courses, YouTube videos. I don't know how many hours I've spent on YouTube for now. Honestly, a lot. Then I came to realize that yes, It's good to run an entrepreneurial business irrespective of your background, but the way we run an entrepreneurial business and the way corporate organizations are run are totally different. Because that's why I actually got to read a book by Michael Gerber that said that if you are an entrepreneur, you wear too many hats. You are the marketing manager, you are the CEO, you are the HR, you are accountant, you are all those things together at the same time. As compared to the corporate world, where the corporate world, the business is managed by professionals. I mean, technically, you see a chartered accountant, a chartered HR consultant, chartered marketer, all these big guys with their profession managing specific department. So now it's easier to manage a corporate organization based on the fact that there are different people with different professions who can now help to manage the business at that point in time. That does not happen at the SME level. That does happen at the entrepreneurial level. That was a catch. I said, oh, wow, then that's how we have to do it. Then I quickly started putting my thoughts together to see what else can we do to help struggling small businesses who were in my state where I was before I failed, even as a university lecturer with all the corporate experiences. What can I do to help them to stop struggling? And that's how this whole HiPAG started. And I remember that anytime that I told this story somehow, and which I'm going to do it better now because of what I've taught us tonight, anytime that I told this story before I started any training, you could see some resonation with the audience, some connection. You could feel that the people are part of you because you are not standing there telling them something to go and do. You are telling them something you have gone through and you have come out of that and you are telling them the reality. So tonight, honestly, this webinar is my webinar. You really nailed it for me, and it's built my confidence to know that my story has to be told the right way. Not that I'm telling the story, but to find a way to let people understand that yes, it can happen to you, but there's a way out. And I'm so grateful that you did that for us tonight. I have a project now that you want us to now embark on seriously. How do we start that, and what do you want us to do?
Okay, so let me share a couple of slides on that project. If you can see my screen, please let me know.
Yes, the grand series.
Okay, yeah. So that's the series that I'm trying to launch. Now, a lot of you will be familiar with CNBC Make It. If you're on YouTube, just look for CNBC Make It, which talks about different small businesses and their story, or founders, or there are several of them. We don't have a local one, and this is what I want us to do. So this is how it works. The project is really a YouTube series. That's how we want to start it. Now, the idea is to tell the story of SMEs, the business model. So what do you do? How did it begin? What are the successes? What are the challenges? And what the future looks like. Okay. Just through this, get the story out. So the beginning part, we'll talk about the challenges that you went through, what inspired you to start a business, why this business and not that business. For example, somebody might tell the story, somebody might have a great restaurant, and they may say that they went into it because growing up, they spent a lot of time with their mom in the kitchen. They inherited a lot of unique, let's say, jollof recipes from their mom. That's what inspired them to get into that. All these are stories that you can tell. Okay. Now, if you come on this, there are two things that you achieve. You are able to share your story. So those of you who don't think you have a story, we're able to tell your story for you. And the video then becomes something that you can share. Okay. You also receive free consultancy and other support because it's going to be a conversation. And I'll bring experts like TK and the rest on board. So as we talk, okay, you talk about some of your challenges, what the future looks like. As you talk about them, because we are experts, would kind of guide you to be able to kind of like fine-tune the ideas about what you want to do in the future. The things that you're sharing, people who are also listening, the mistakes or the challenges that you had in the past, will be able to provide guidance so they can also avoid those. So these are very, very key. Simply put, how do we want to do this and where does this community come in? We want to start with 15 SMEs who want to volunteer from this group to be featured in the first series that we want to do. Now, this is the outline that we have. The conversation, of course, will take different, directions, but this is like how we kind of let it flow. So there's a welcome introduction. You talk about your story, where, when, and how it all began, the purpose. What do you want to achieve? Remember, I said, what are your core values? What's the purpose of what you want to do? Okay. The people. Who do you really serve? Okay. Who are your customers? It's not, we don't say that everybody's my customer. Who really do you want to serve? This week, one of my friends was talking about she won an award, and she has all these like flat shoes. And I didn't know, but she said she kind of developed this through an experience she had. I think she slipped and she fractured her knee or something. And for a whole year, her leg was in a cast. After it came out, she couldn't wear proper shoes. So that's how she developed these flat shoes that she's been, selling. Okay. So that's a compelling story right there. We'll get you to tell some of these stories. Okay, which is very, very important. So then after we've gone through this, then we'll kind of like look ahead to what the future looks like. Okay. So this is how you're gonna get involved. The next step is for us, one of us. I think what I would do is when I finish, I'll share this slide with Elizabeth. There's a video in there that you can watch, which is an example of how the story will be told. The way we will do ours is because we want to do it on a budget. It's not going to be like a big production where we're driving across to your site, do all those things. We'll shoot it on a budget, but it will still be a great story that will be told. Okay. So we'll use Zoom to tell it, and you see how this works. Okay. We want to shoot in batches. So if we get 15 people, we'll schedule, so let's say 5 a day. Each one will be just 45 minutes to shoot. You'll be prepped what we're looking out for, lighting, or what kind of like equipment we want you to use, what backdrop, all those things we'll discuss, we'll prep you. And what we want to do is start the production, if possible, from 15th November. Okay, so this is what we have in mind. This video here, when I send it to Elizabeth and she puts it on the platform, all of you can watch it. It's a compelling story about how somebody grew their cupcake business. Okay, so that's the kind of story that we would want to tell. Here are some other examples that you can watch, so it will prep you to understand a bit more about what we want to do. So simply put, TK, this is what we want to do, and it's what we are inviting everybody in this community to become a part of. And like I said, you don't only get to share your story, but because a lot of us who are going to be on the platform will be consultants. We're able to help you also to even rethink your business, re-strategize. So you're getting free consultancy even by coming on board. Thank you very much.
2026, no joke, but 2026 starts from November, December 2025. And we are going to talk about that somewhere in the course of this month before the year ends. Nancy, I'm so grateful to you. I'd like to acknowledge some personality here that Nancy, please allow me to do this before we go on.
Sure, yeah.
Mauli Oklu, your very old friend, is here with us. Mauli,
Oh, wow.
my brother and my bosom friend. Mauli actually gave my first job as a salesperson with multimedia, and Mauli has been my backbone ever since. Emo, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you joining me tonight. And then also,
Emo is part of my story.
I'm telling you, everyone's going to join you as well. No two ways about it. Join us again next week, Thursday. And we are going to make sure that we're going to post the link for Stephen as to those who are interested in taking part in this project to be part of this. I want you to be part of it. Again, next week, Thursday, for the same episode, for another impactful session. Have a good night. Go back and build your business to last.